Welcome to Buy-Site Hosting. Buy-Site Hosting is a website about website hosting. So you might be wondering, why do I need website hosting? Well, simply put, your website needs to be put on a computer that is connected to the internet 24/7, known as a server, so that anytime someone wants to visit your website, it's available for them to view. Website hosting companies provide you with a computer that is connected to the internet to place your files. There are different types of website hosting, and on the Buy-Site Hosting website, we discuss 5 different types, which are shared hosting, reseller hosting, virtual private server hosting, dedicated hosting, and cloud hosting. With shared hosting, your website's put on a server in a data center along with several other websites. You have an account on the server where you can manage your website, upload files, and you're given a certain amount of resources you can use. So you have a certain amount of disk space, you have a certain amount of bandwidth, you have a certain amount of other resources that you are allotted. You have your own account on the server, you upload files. It's simple website hosting. Reseller hosting is where you are allotted a set amount of resources on a web server, and you are able to create, edit, partition out your resources to and delete shared hosting accounts on the web server with a control panel. So reseller hosting is kind of like a step up from shared hosting. So you still have that same idea where you're allotted a certain amount of resources on a server, and you can partition that out and you can say, I want to create 10 shared hosting accounts. And you can allot a certain amount of resources to each of these shared hosting accounts. And this might help you if, for example, you wanted to host 10 websites. And instead of having 10 shared hosting accounts, you wanted to have one reseller hosting account. Virtual private server hosting is where you can run a virtual server and use more resources than you can on most shared hosting plans, but use less resources than you can on most dedicated server plans. So virtual private server is kind of where it seems like you have your own actual server, but it's just that you have an account on a server and everything is virtual. It's hosted at a data center, at hosting company, and you can upload your files and you can work with the server. With dedicated hosting, you rent a server in a data center. Your resource usage is limited to the bandwidth the data center allots to you and the resources your server has, such as disk space, processor power, RAM or computer memory, etc. So you basically have a computer somewhere out there in a data center that you have control over and you upload files to, and that's your web server. With cloud hosting, there are several servers that are connected to function together in a cloud. So you kind of lose the distinction of this is the box where I put stuff. And it just becomes kind of like one big cloud of information. And you start out with predefined resources, bandwidth, space, etc. And you're able to scale up from there at a fee per additional unit of resources you need. So you say, I have an account in this cloud, and this account, I upload stuff to it, and then you're going to use more resources when more people visit your website. And so if your website just suddenly took off and you needed just tons and tons of resources, then you are able to quickly scale up, because with cloud hosting, you're not confined to the resources of that one server. You have access to the resources of a whole bunch of servers, maybe a whole data center of servers, and you can scale up and down, and the hosting company bills you for what you use.